screen for that.
What's up, visual listeners? We just had super sweet Gamescom because there was a bunch of news and games and stuff talked about over in Germany, which I wish I could have been there. Holy crap, that would have been awesome. But we're here to talk about some of our favorite stuff to come out of Gamescom so far this week ish. But yeah, this is a Replayer podcast. What's up, visual listeners? I'm your host, Dan Morris. With me today, we have Patrick Sutherland.
What a big D. Oh my gosh. Thanks, TikTok. My car was stolen.
Sweet. How are you doing, Louis?
Pretty good. I mean, I saw Gamescom, so that's a different thing. Is this time I have an opinion.
Wait, what, Patrick?
Oh, no. Oh, nothing. Me? Oh, me?
Oh, yeah. Little old me.
Wait. Back to me watching stuff. Hold on. It's more important.
Yes, go ahead. Tell us, Louis.
I saw a thing on YouTube.
Oh.
And a story.
Sweet. Well, welcome to the Replayer podcast, everyone, and thank you both for joining me this evening. I know we're particularly excited about some of the stuff that we've been seeing so far this week coming out of the little Cologne, Germany, off the Rhine River. I've been there. It's nice. But yeah, welcome to the Replayer podcast, which was a show about retro replay once upon a time, but now it's just a show with us being gamers, talking about games and all the things we love about them. And we're going to... Yeah, same thing. Yeah, same thing. But anyways, games. Yay, games. Guess what, guys? We get to talk about games tonight. We never get to do that.
I like those.
Games
Let's
are fun.
go.
Games are the shit. So tonight, we're going to talk about our favorite things. I know I've said it. I'm saying it again. We're going to go around, and everyone's going to share. Who wants to start first?
Let's let you start first, Dan.
I called it. Yes. Okay. I can easily start because there is something I'm actually pretty pumped about. There was a game that was they showed a gameplay reveal trailer for Lies of P, which this game was actually announced a couple of months ago. And back then I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. This game's about Pinocchio, but it's set in a Bloodborne style action RPG, brutal horror-esque game. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But now they revealed this new gameplay trailer for it. And holy shit, I think it looks amazing. I believe it's a relatively new studio. And they're basically going like hard on the Bloodborne formula. Patrick, did you see this trailer, or do you have any interest in this Lies of P?
You know, I sure did. I was really disappointed when I found out it wasn't a Life of Pi sequel. But unfortunately, I mean, like, fortunately, I think the game looks really cool. You know, I love Bloodborne as well, and any other game that's wanting to take on that kind of a theme, I'm all about. The weird twist on Pinocchio is odd. It also coincides with live action Pinocchio trailer coming out recently too. So
yeah, that was like
Pinocchio's hot right now.
Yeah, Pinocchio's coming in swinging.
Yeah, I don't. What about you, Louis?
It's on my list as well. Things I wanted to talk about.
Well, there we go.
It was also, I don't know if it is for you, Dan, but for me, it is my number one. That was the thing I was most excited to see. I hadn't heard anything about it. I missed everything last year. I missed everything from last year to this year. I don't know anything at all about anything anywhere. So when I saw that one, I was like, what the hell is this? definitely that Bloodborne, and I very famously hate like Soulsborns or Souls likes, but I loved Bloodborne. So when I saw this, oh my god, everything was just going, yes, please. And I love classic stories like that. I love when they make them darker. You can see I'm a massive Alice in Wonderland fan. Like that those kind of dark children's stories that they bring to an even darker place that still keep the nuance. I am so excited to see what's going to happen with that one. That was my number one pick. I have to know about this one.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
So we're
excited.
pretty much all on the same page there.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I'm
good.
curious to see the extent of like, they talked about how your decision making is going to affect the story, and I'm just curious about how they can deliver on that with
How do you lie?
yeah, what are the consequences of those lies?
Can you use that as a weapon?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of different little mechanical bits and stuff that are going on there. Who knows? But I'm actually like really excited by this gameplay trailer because the gameplay looks solid, like rock solid, especially for a Souls-like game that wasn't made by FromSoft, because most Souls-like clones from other studios aren't so good. Some of them are all right. Not most of them don't quite get the magic, or they don't quite get the feel of the combat, or they don't balance it too well. I'm looking at you, Darksiders 3. That was dog shit. Go back to
Yeah,
the
the
drawing board.
Surge,
The Surge
Remnants
I
of
did
the
that.
Ash.
What? No, I like Remnant.
No, I don't like that one.
I like Remnant. But Remnant's a different take though on the genre.
That was almost like, no, you're wrong, Dan.
Wrong.
It was bad.
But I like the Surge a little bit. I didn't play a lot of it, but I also just unplugged my headphones. So somebody else talk for a second.
Oh, hi, it's me, the talker. I'm definitely apprehensive about Lies of P because of that I feel like generally games that aren't made by FromSoft that are of the Soulsborne variety don't hit the same for me as those other titles do. And so I'm excited for this game, but I am not over the moon for it. I don't think that my expectations are through the roof. I think it's a cool idea, but I have my hesitations with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
And I got the same like apprehension of like, I want it to be good. I don't assume it's going to be good, but I want it to be because it looks cool. I like the concept. I like the premise. The character models I think look fantastic. So like the gameplay of these videos, obviously, like we don't know if it's going to hold up in the end, but what we're seeing to me looks pretty dang cool. I love the use of like Pinocchio's like mechanical arm to do different actions and things, and he's got all these different weapon types. The combat just looks really cool. So I'm excited for this one. I'm
Do
done.
you have an opinion, Zelda? Tell us what
Kitty.
you think. Tell us what you think, Zelda.
Well,
she's just gonna
Meow.
I've got one for you. Not a newly released game, or recently announced, but we're talking about AEW's Fight Forever. We're talking about a wrestling game based off a modern company in an old school style, harkening back to the N64 days of WWF No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. That's really the vibe that they're going for. They have THQ Nordic and some of the folks that worked on those original games. I think Ukes is the other company.
Oh yeah, Ukes.
And I'm not like, I think, judging by the gameplay that we saw, this is the most we've gotten to see of this game. We got to see a full match and a bit of an interview after and before it. It doesn't look like it's going to be a 10 out of 10 game, but I think it's going to be a fun wrestling game. And really at this point, that's all we can ask for. Where they have recent history of not being so great or just okay, and when the bar was so low, with the latest 2K WWE 2K game came out, it was like, yeah, this is the right step forward, but it's not perfect. So there's room for improvement in that area. The WWE 2K games go for more of like a simulation style, but they're all about, no, it's arcade, it's fast, it's fun. And that's something that excites me. I know that they took audio recordings from their like last 4 months of shows and are using those actual sound bites into like the crowd chants in the arena, in the background. And that's something that's fun too. It's going to have a career mode, create a wrestler, all sorts of customization stuff, very online focus, online leaderboards and different ways to interact with your friends in that sense. And otherwise, No release date yet. And it doesn't, I mean, to me, it really just, it's not looking very pretty. You know, it's like they say they're going for the N64 style, but we've also seen retro styles made to look really good too. And I
And
just,
done
it's
well.
not, yeah. So like, I can get over a game not looking great as long as it's still fun to play. And so for that, I'm still excited for it. And that's why I wanted to bring it up today. But I don't really know. You guys have a little bit of experience with wrestling in general or wrestling games, but any thoughts
A
on this one?
little. I know wrestling games on the Nintendo 64 have a massive like cult following for some of those. Like I oftentimes I hear about wrestling games on the 64 being like the best wrestling games ever made. My experience with wrestling games kind of was limited to playing, I think, the original WrestleMania on NES when I was a kid. And I may or may not have dabbled in a few of them in the years, but I can't tell you which ones exactly. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
fair.
definitely the last one, excuse me, that I really appreciated because that's when I was into wrestling was I know it was Raw, but I can't remember WWF. I'm pretty sure, like way before the Wildlife Association got into the whole lawsuit thing. I'm talking Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, like all that kind of stuff. That was the last time I really enjoyed it. I'm not particular on especially new age fighting games, like realistic fighting games. I tried getting into UFC with my cousin and our the boys. I
Mhm.
all if you don't do this much with the thumb is gonna you don't no haymaker. I'm like I just want to punch a dude. Let me push a button that punches him and then he dies. That's
And
all I want.
bouncing off that, you know, with more of the arcade style, it's going to allow you to button mash. And they really made sure to note that if you played any of those N64 games, you're going to be able to pick up a controller and know exactly how to play. Like they really just tried to make it, you know, easy to pick up, but difficult to master, kind of a thing. And that's
I'm
got
okay
me
with that.
excited as well. So
I
I
think
think it's
that's
going to be a really approachable fighting game.
I think that's what makes a good action or arcade fighter like that. Like it should be that. It should be easy to pick up, but difficult to master. And I think that's the right approach, even though these games aren't necessarily my cup of tea. But if I were ever to play one, that's the kind I would like. I want to play like the NFL Blitz. I want to play the MLB. Was it Slugfest? Like the over the top.
Slugfest.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I actually enjoyed that game. I actually played a lot of Slugfest, even though I'm not a baseball fan. But I love the action, like arcade over the top craziness. That's what'll make me play these games if it's not typically my usual thing. So yeah, I'm glad this is happening, especially for fans. I noticed what was the last there was a few weeks ago there was a press event for it's right on the tip of my tongue. It was a different publisher, THQ Nordic.
Yeah.
Ah,
And like the
That's
entire
them.
chat the whole time was just like AEW, AEW, AEW. Where's AEW? And I was like, what's AEW? What is this?
The
So
fans are clamoring for it.
yeah.
It's the first real competitor to the WWE in forever. And
I'm
it's
all for that. I'm all for that.
yeah.
'Cause
So
I don't like there being any one major like conglomerate, taking over the industry. Like I've got my qualms with like Madden for football.
yeah,
It
competition
ugh,
drives innovation. All that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So, anyways, excited for that. Louis, anything else sticking out to you? What are you excited for?
Well, like I said, Liza P was probably the biggest one that I saw, but as far as like other things, I was things that grabbed my attention. My list is kind of weird. I'm gonna try to pick out just a couple that I kind of want to throw because it's a little long. It's like 8 things, but just stuff that I don't know anything about. I don't know if you guys know anything. That was Where the Winds Meet and Phantom Hellcat. Those two really like they're pretty typical. Like I got kind of like vibes from other games. I could definitely see similarities, but what really sticks out to me is I've never seen like that old school martial arts style Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon for the winds or Where the Winds Meet. So beautiful, God, like oh man, that looks so gorgeous. I want that to be like so good. And Phantom Hellcat, I just thought, I don't know what the hell that is, but that looks fun. Like another Dishonored.
It's funny that you mentioned the Where the Wind what it was, I forget now.
Where
Yeah,
the winds meet.
where the winds meet. Okay, so yeah, so I watched that trailer, and the first thought I had, besides like, okay, this is really stunning looking, but it reminded me of some of these other Chinese-based RPGs that haven't really been coming our side on the West. There
Yep.
was one that just recently came out. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. We'd have to fact check this, but it got like a pretty decent review, and it was like that. It's like an RPG that focuses on like old school like Chinese martial arts and sword play, where you're using like a Chinese straight sword, and it looks like you're playing a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of RPG almost. And I was with you, Louis, that trailer was like, ooh, okay, but at the same time, I was also a little like hesitant on like, okay, this
Yeah,
is
there's
triggering.
so
Like,
much that
I don't
could
want to get
fall.
too excited because I worry that it's not going to deliver.
Because it
Wh-
looks so grand, right?
Yeah.
Like, like there's so much that could go wrong with that
The f-
big of a promise. Yeah.
The trailer also had a chunky frame rate. If you saw that, the same as I did, and the gameplay looked a little choppy as well. So I'm like, okay, it could be in like early alpha, like it might not be so smooth just yet.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I got hopes for that, and I had heard about the Phantom Hellcat as well, but I haven't checked out gameplay for that one yet, so I didn't even know it was in like the
Oh,
Dishonored realm.
this one looked like just pure gameplay.
I think there's a demo for that on Steam right now too,
Okay.
for Phantom Hellcat.
And what I mean by like it gave me a little bit of like Dishonored. It looks like magical powers that you can use for stealth and stuff like that, or you could just go in guns a blazing. It looked like a pretty solid combat thing, and I kind of glanced through it, so I don't really have like a clear picture of it, and that's why that was the first thing I saw of it, and it just looked kind of really cool. But those two just stood out to me as far as like gameplay, and like if we're kind of going off of like what you were saying, I hope that these do well, because again, there's so much that could go wrong with it, and especially like you said, seeing that Chinese background and that ancestry and all that kind of coming more to the forefront, like Sifu was fucking outstanding. Like things like that. I want more like that. More like yes, you're using engines and things that have already been used, but you're bringing something new to the table. You're getting more cultural. You're getting more beautiful. Whatever the hell you want to call it. It felt different, even if it felt the same. And that's something I think we could look forward to.
Yeah.
What stands out to me about the Phantom Hellcat is that how it goes from 2D to 3D as well. That was definitely something in the trailer.
I always like those.
Yeah, and
like,
you know, I've seen comparisons between the two, and I feel like there's a pretty distinct lack in games, like at least in the last year or two, of like hack and slash over the top action games like that. You know, in the Devil May Cry kind of vein as well. And yeah, just hope it's a good one too.
Looks promising.
Dan, what else you been into? What else stood out to you?
I just now was remembering another game that kind of hit for me. This was actually a game that was announced at Xbox's showcase a few months ago. It's that Last Case of Benedict Fox. They showed a new gameplay trailer for that, and that is just hitting so many chords for me because it's a Metroidvania set in like a it might be like the Lovecraft, like a Lovecraftian setting, but in a Metroidvania. And like I got to see the first early gameplay trailer that they released, I think yesterday, the day before. But it starts to unfold a lot more of what this game is and what the spirit behind it is going to be. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love Metroidvanias, and this also hits that Lovecraftian kind of like weird, almost horror aspect of it. So I'm on board for this game. That was kind of
the trailer. It looks wild. That was one that I missed. I'll be honest, you know. And I think you nailed it on the head with the description.
Yeah, and that was just I'm pulling that off the spot. That wasn't on my list. I just thought of it now because of what we were just talking about, and I'm like, oh yeah, that game, like it looked good.
I have 3 that I just kind of want to get out of the way just because I thought they were funny.
Okay.
And I don't know. You tell me what you guys thought about these ones. Of course, Goat Simulator was a part 2.
3.
3. I never played the other 2. Obviously,
they didn't have.
There wasn't
2,
a second
though.
one.
There wasn't a 2.
That's the joke.
Even better. I've never played the first one. I always wondered about it, and when I saw this one, I'm like, why did I miss out? What did what? Like the question just became smaller because it's like I can't get anything out of this, but it looks so great. It looks like something to just kind of take a weekend off your hands, you know. That one, of course, High on Life. We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it did justice to what they wanted it to, but it looked good enough. I like the concept of it's pretty much what I grasped. The final fight with GLaDOS in the first Portal game. Yeah, where like you're picking up the heads and they're just saying random things and you kind of just want to hear everything they have to say. That was kind of what I was getting from that trailer. It's like this is gonna take me forever because I'm just gonna keep like sitting there and like trying to listen to everything that all the things that they can possibly say. And finally, of course, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and our lovely Shanna brought that up. That she was like, "I just saw the movie. That sounds like a cool concept." And man, I gotta admit that one looked really good. Like it looks good. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it looks nice. Good graphics.
So let's start with the High on Life because I'm actually really excited for that game, and that was another like a exclusive announcement through Xbox at their event, and it's going to be coming to Xbox and PC on Game Pass day one, which is pretty cool. And this gameplay trailer did something for me that I wasn't expecting. It made me say, "Holy crap! This actually looks like a solid shooter and not just a doofy game by Justin Roiland," which is like, wow, that's how he rolls. He just makes really goofy stuff. But the gameplay looks really solid, and that actually really excited me to have like, oh, this could be a decent shooter on top of being completely batshit crazy.
Not just another accounting where it's just here's the tree guy and he's gonna keep saying fuck you over and over again. I get that.
This has solidified in my head that I know I don't want to see any more of this game. Because of the fact that it's like, it's very humor based, it's like I don't want anything to be like spoiled. Like I want to hear everything fresh with the controller in my hand. Like I'm excited for this game, but I just like I just want to go into it as fresh as possible, and I think that I'm going to try to go on a blackout for anything else related to this game because it looks there's enough there and it's on Game Pass, so I'll be there. Just sign me up. So
you're done.
The knife was so angry and I loved it.
And on that point too, like that makes sense because even in this trailer, I felt like I was getting spoiled because there's a line of dialogue that the gun says, "Hey, this is our first our boss fight," and I'm like, I didn't need to know that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
maybe it just meant because you got that weapon recently, so it's their first boss fight. Yeah,
we could say that.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I'm gonna twist this until it makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
It is so great.
Yeah, but I'm pretty excited for that game. I'm so happy it's coming to Game Pass. I look forward to diving into that one. But yeah, we definitely talk about some of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which why? But yes, like I'm glad, but also like so Killer Clowns from Outer Space is the video game is being developed by Ilphonic. That's the studio who also made Friday the 13th. It's going to be that asymmetrical kind of multiplayer horror experience where a team of survivors is trying to fight the team of clowns. Which in this case is the first time where it's actually a team of clowns instead of just a solo like bad guy or villain, whatever it would be like in Friday the 13th. But oh my god, like what are your expectations for this?
I don't have any, which is exactly why I could care less if it sucks or if it's great, because it's like, well, Dead by Daylight ended up being pretty good. So and then it suddenly isn't. So again, it could be a great game when it comes out and then suck, or it could go the other way around, or it could never be great, or it could never be bad. I just think that the concept behind finally doing something with the zaniness of such an over the top comedy horror from the 1980s or early 90s, that in itself is something where it's like, okay, maybe we can start bringing more of that stuff back because everybody keeps concentrating on Evil Dead, but we have 5 Evil Dead video games. A couple of them are great, a couple of them are really bad. Let's branch out a little. Let's go for other stuff,
I think that this is going to be a game that's going to find a core audience, and maybe it'll have like a surge at the start, you know, if it's reviewed well enough and if people are talking about it. But I think that that'll probably die off. But if it's like anything like Friday the 13th, you're going to get DLC for this game for forever, because it's always on the front page of any sort of sale. It's like Friday the 13th, it's just crazy costumes, and so I can see this game clicking with people, but not necessarily gaining mainstream popularity.
Mhm.
And if that was the case, it would not surprise me.
My biggest issue that I had with Friday the 13th is I eventually got bored after playing it for a couple of weeks, because it was like, oh, it's the same thing every single time. But that's probably more of an issue with me. Not like I didn't get sucked into the loop of the survivor horror, or like killer survivor, and it was like every time I'm the survivor, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and every time I'm the killer, I'm trying my damnedest to kill these people, but somehow I'm not powerful enough most of the time to actually kill them, which just seems weird in this
Yeah,
situation.
the most recent game I played of that style was Predator.
Yeah, I played Predator. I liked Predator.
Yeah, it was cool, but I think I'm with you there that it just it's hard for me to get into that loop as well. The rewards that you get for leveling up never really felt that substantial in my experience, or maybe I didn't give them enough time to do so. And I feel like I never went back to that game. It could be great now. I haven't.
I've actually was looking at Predator the other day, and I'm like, oh wow, like this looks like fun again to me, and I'm actually tempted
Yeah.
to go back and play Predator again.
But I wonder if having four, assuming four clowns running around against four humans might change the pace up enough to feel like the rounds are a bit more diverse. Let's see.
Again, now that I'm thinking of it, there was also the Ghostbusters game that follows that same like system. It's the same kind of thing where it's the four Ghostbusters versus I think four ghosts. So it's more of that like balanced isometric kind of. I guess it's not isometric at that point if it's not uneven. But that Ghostbusters game I thought looked interesting too.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's got a lot of voice actors that I'm excited to see play their parts too.
Yeah. All right. So, Patrick, do you have another one?
Yeah, another game that we already knew existed but got to see more of was Hogwarts Legacy. I am very excited for this game, and I just want it to be good. It's another one where I'm going to go in with it's good, not great expectations, but I want to be wrong because I want it to be really good. We got to see more of the dark arts in this latest trailer, and the kind of the consequences of going down that path. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really expect to see the type of underworld monster kind of gameplay that we saw from the trailer. And I've just been away from the Harry Potter universe in a while, so like they would go after like the dark arts, but like I just they made such a big deal about, oh, you're just a student and you go to your classes and you play Quidditch, like whatever. And it sounded a bit more like a bit upbeat, but there was like torture scenes, or like hinted at, and that kind of stuff. And it just like I'm excited that they get to have a bit more freedom with the tone, and obviously the books got more dark as they went. Yeah, I was happy to see more of that game, and it's nice we have a new release date, give them more time to hash things out, and pretty soon people will regret making fun of me for being a Hufflepuff.
Soon
the game will fix that.
Well, in the game, I'll get to take out my aggression upon the other classes. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
But yeah, I agree with you on everything about this trailer. I was actually really pleasantly surprised with this new gameplay trailer. I'm just like you. I was like, I expected the game to be almost a little too like sunshine and roses, where it's like, yeah, well, the Harry Potter universe has got some dark sides to it. And then this trailer shows us like it's start to finish. There is darkness in this game, and you're going to be able to explore it. And not only that, but you're going to go into these tombs full of skeletons and like bones and stuff everywhere. And that new gameplay trailer, like that definitely hit for me, where I'm like, okay, I've got a new like rebirth excitement for this game, even though I've been excited for it, but it's been so long, But I'm right there with you. Like, I'm actually super pumped to get into this game and play it. And I'm so glad that it's going to be this really tight single player experience, or at least I hope it will be.
Like I kind of stayed away from a lot of the media for it because I was like, I'm eventually going to play it anyway. I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. Um, the whatever kind of universe is going to be set with it is typically going to grasp my attention. When I saw this one, I was just kind of like, looks really good. All right, now I'm probably gonna buy it, not just wait for either Game Pass or wait for a sale. I'm like, all right, that month is gonna be ramen noodles, but good gameplay. So hey, come see, come saw. It kind of goes hand in hand. So I am very much looking forward to that. I liked that music, that feel, that the game is it's kind of like the same thing that happened with Star Wars. The games give it an extra depth, an extra layer that the movies just can't do because they're movies. So now you get to spend time. You get to go and look at that corner for an hour if you feel like it. Who cares? So I got a little excited that just like, all right, and also looks really good too. All right, I'm in. Let's do it. Come on. So yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't give us too much to talk about, otherwise. Because I don't think they really went into detail and didn't really unveil anything else new, just that this is a path you can go down.
Yeah, but that adds a whole nother layer of depth to what you can do in the game too that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I feel like I need to not let my imagination run too wild and assume that you can also do this and this until they tell us, a bit more about the extent of that.
Well, you're definitely gonna ride a dragon, and you're gonna like all these things.
Yeah, like, do I get to become the next Dark Lord, the first Dark Lord? Am I the Voldemort, Voldemort Senior? Probably not. I don't assume so, but I'm just saying, like,
or Grimwald.
From Gringle Bells. Yeah,
well, there are so many friends that are gonna kick our asses for getting these names wrong. It's like Grimblewald,
Grindelwald,
Grim Reaper. Got it.
What else was out there? Anything else stand out to us?
I wanted to mention one thing that I thought was fucking hilarious, and that is the very first thing that happened, and that was what was that? Everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
Can we have a master class on the deflection that this guy did, who was on stage with Jeff, just going like, and to every question that came at him? He's just like, okay, so like, what is the game about? We are developers and we really like making games, and a bunch of us have been loving games since we've been children, and we really want to make a good game for you. Okay, but what's the game about? We really enjoy making games. I'm like, dude, this guy is like unfazed. You just, yep. That was good. That was
I'm pretty sure I zoned out at that point when I was watching that. It's just kind of like, okay, Dev talked. He's not really answering any questions.
Like at all. You kind of have to applaud just a little bit. That man was a fortress and nothing was getting through. Good for fans? Absolutely not. But good because that's why he's there, to not answer you. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, that guy might not get the invite back for Game Awards, Summer Game Fest, whatever.
Right. Man. So I have one game that I'm actually kind of interested in that's actually a new IP of all these games that was announced at Gamescom, and that was Atlas Fallen, which is by Deck 13, which, for those who don't know, Deck 13 is kind of like a smaller, like B-tier RPG studio. They've put out a couple of games in the last couple of years that are like, they usually range in like the 7s, maybe 8s kind of ranking range. Like, they're good, they're not great, they don't stand out. Like, nobody's like tripping over themselves to play them. But this trailer did something for me. First of all, it's a massive like pre-rendered CG trailer that you're just kind of like, what is happening? I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of stuff and I don't know what to expect of this trailer. That's usually what makes me really kind of skeptical when a trailer is really CG heavy and you're just kind of like, I don't know what to make of this. And then usually what happens is I get really excited, like, oh, this looks great. And then it cuts the gameplay, and the gameplay is like, it's a card battling game. And I'm like, well, what the hell was all that other shit we just saw then? Why was there all this pre-rendered CG of people like blasting each other with giant mountains of machine guns and things? Anyways, Atlas Fallen didn't do that. Atlas Fallen actually came through with some solid looking gameplay at the end that made me think this could be pretty good. And I dig this art style. I dig the combat in the trailer, and I'm hopeful. I'm excited for this game that I've never heard of until the other day. That I just it wowed me. I'm excited.
I kind. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll wait.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say that I kind of want to parallel what you said because you verbatim players versus or friends versus friends. That's what happened with that one.
Okay.
Really cool art style, really cool looking, thing, a nice, pretty solid music. And then out of nowhere, they're like, by the way, card game, bye. I was like, ah!
I honestly didn't have that in my head when I did that, but that's 100% what that trailer did.
I wanted to talk about it, but because of how the gameplay looked, I kind of went like, nah, I'm not even going to put that on my list. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry, Pat.
But go ahead, Pat. Say what you guys say.
No, I just, I hate when shows have to be so CG heavy, it's like not really, I don't like the concept of it. I just want to see what it is, but I think that game, the trailer led right into some cool gameplay that was like just enough for me to be like, okay, you guys, I want to see more.
Yeah.
That's all I got on it.
Yeah, I thought it did pretty good on that. And the gameplay delivered for me. I'm like, oh, okay, like you're actually doing the shit that you saw in the trailer. Okay. You've got me for now.
Was that the one that they showed the trailer and then they went, man, I'd like to see gameplay. Oh, would you? Well, here it is. It was closer to the end. I think it was right before.
No, that was the last game we're gonna get into.
Okay, then I won't get ahead of it. But like, I remember Atlas Fallen. I purposefully didn't put it on there because I just kept getting like Dark Soul vibes and Elder Ring vibes. So I was like, you know what? I know somebody else is gonna bring this one up, so I'm not gonna put it on my list. But I do remember being wowed. I do remember being captivated. I'm like, this is like a summer movie with like medieval that I'm probably not gonna like it, but I want to play it.
Even now looking at like the footage, like these dudes are like sand surfing, like they're just like rollerblading in the sand, and then they're battling these giant monsters with these over the top giant melee weapons with magic. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I want it. Like I want to experience this. It looks cool. I like it.
Like I'm thinking Destiny level of how much you can do, but it seems a little more tight. And that's what I like about it.
That would be pretty sweet. Anyways, you want us to move on to our last topic, the last game that we're going to talk about?
All right. The one I almost spoiled.
Patrick was going to kick it off. Sorry. So we're also going to be talking about Dead Island 2. It's another game I'm excited about. I love anything zombies still. I'm still that guy. And I've been excited for this game since it was announced in 2014. It's been a long time.
I'm trying to remember when that original trailer came out in maybe 2016, 2017.
I think it was 14. I didn't actually look it up though, so I don't know. But regardless, it's been a long time that they've been talking about this game, and it's really cool to finally see some gameplay for it. It looks like a bloody good time. The Dead Island formula, if you don't know, it's first person zombie game, a lot of quests, skill upgrades for your character, just all sorts of zany weapons, mostly melee focused. The shooting was never super strong in them, but since Dead Rising's come out, you've had the rise of the sister franchise Dying Light, and Dying Light 2 came out recently. Which I have not actually played yet. I've been waiting for a good sale, and I knew it launched buggy, but that's a whole other thing. So I still have this zombie itch that hasn't been scratched in a while. And so seeing this trailer again, I'm seeing the gameplay trailer for this after so long. It just it got me re-excited for more zombie stuff, and I just hope it's a good time. What do you guys think?
I'll take it. So I don't have too much of an opinion. I didn't get into the first one. Again, open worlds with my ADHD mind, they don't really click. I get overwhelmed really quickly, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to a rail. So I go to games that tend to lead me so that I can be more focused. Otherwise, it's like I could do all this, but I don't wanna. But I did play it, and I did love the hell out of the mechanics. I liked I typically hate like upkeep and stuff like that, but I remember repairing cars and things like that. And I remember actually having a good time with it. I remember enjoying taking journeys to different areas and stuff because it was never boring. And it did keep my attention for quite a while, and I really liked that. And when I saw this one, seeing that there's just, so many more survivors, and just seeing that there are so many people that just look the world itself looks so interesting. I think I'm gonna get wrapped up in it, and that's something worth mentioning for me because I get scared off by these kinds of games typically.
And I want to add on to that note, Louis, assumingly it's got multiplayer co-op.
That makes it easier for me to be more
And
focused.
I think that's what I'm also really excited for, because I played a lot of Dead Island 1 mostly by myself, and I really look forward to the opportunity of playing Dead Island 2 with friends, like actually play through that whole game together and experience it kind of like I did with like Borderlands, which I played through with friends. And I feel like I missed it out when it was on Dead Island 1. But this new take on Dead Island, obviously the game changed developers. It went through a little bit of a development hell, so everyone thought it was a dead game. So that's why it was such a big deal that they're like, yep, here it is, Dead Island 2. It's happening. It's coming. And it's a different developer now. Like the original developer is focusing on Dying Light. And it got handed off to this Dam Buster Studios. And it looks like they kind of took the original concept but went in a slightly different direction, which I think works for it. And it looks fantastic. I'm really interested in checking this game out. I like that the game was more of like an RPG almost, like zombie RPG, I guess.
ZRPG.
Yeah.
I really liked the other,
And it's got Lenny
characters that they
Kravitz apparently.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
When they first showed
I
that cinematic trailer, I'm like, Lenny Kravitz.
I just liked the other characters as well. Like and even the first game had really interesting NPCs, but this one just seems like I like that they dialed up the comedy so you can have more fun than just I'm gonna kill you because there's no other humans. Who cares? This one feels more like there's a story, and I'm kind of like, all right. I guess this one too. Fuck it.
I think the setting looks cool. It's based in like LA. And so now naturally they should change the name to Dead Coast.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
I thought of the same thing too. I'm like, it's not an island anymore though.
Well, what if California gets like
Hey, yeah, true. Hey, great point. We don't know yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. But
it happened in what was the Snake Escape from LA.
It could very well.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
It could
1980s
happen.
references. Yeah. Anyway, I'm old.
I mean, it would make sense. But yeah, so that was one of the biggest announcements, I think, or reveals at least, that came out of Gamescom. There's definitely been a lot of new games and new IPs that were announced. There was a lot of other ones that were like, oh, these look cool. I want to check this out. I'm going to follow this up. Or I almost immediately like went to Steam and like wish listed it, or I would mark it or something. There was also a random game that was announced by devs of like Battlefield, where they're making a Battlefield-esque game that's set in like a reality TV show. That they're like, you can sign up for like early access to be in the early previews of it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Just because, why not? But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for us here tonight. You guys have any other final thoughts on Gamescom so far?
No, I think that it just, I feel like it's been the theme of my take on games tonight, but I feel like I go into Gamescom with really leveled expectations because we're fresh off of Summer Games Fest. It's before the Game Awards. And so I like to think of this show as a way to show updates. I don't ever expect anything groundbreaking, but I feel like it's oftentimes a time when we get to see things that maybe we saw just a trailer reveal of, a couple months ago, with what would have been E3 or Summer Games Fest. And with that being the case, I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah, how about you, Louis?
I'm really happy to see my friends agreeing with my list. I'm like, we all basically had the same list. We're all just like, yeah, I wanted to talk about that. I have my opinion. Here's my opinion. It tells me that, like, even though I don't get a chance to see a lot of this stuff, I don't have a chance to like really get involved with it too much. We're still on the same levels. We all do still look at the same thing. We are gamers at heart. We understand what we want out of something, and we understand when somebody's trying to feed us bullshit. And so like we kind of we click in those kinds of areas, and it just justifies why these things are so popular, why these things have such a big backing that they do, such such a following. And I'm very excited to try these new things that I've never even considered, because now that I'm playing these games more regularly, now that I have more people to play them with, I'm kind of like, oh, you know what? I won't do it alone, but if Dan's gonna be with me, I don't like this kind of a thing, but Pat could teach me. So I get a good feel for different things that I've never tried before. So now I start looking at them with a bigger light, and it really feels good. So I was very excited to see that.
Yes. Well, a wholesome end to that. Dan, any final thoughts?
No, not for me, but I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to Couch Soup, couchsoup.com, where you guys can listen to our podcast and read some awesome articles that some of us have done and written. I've got a few in the docket that I'm working on. Patrick's got a few. Louis got a few. You can read some of our awesome thoughts and opinions over there. Plus, Couch Soup also just launched their Twitch channel and had their first ever Twitch stream of Pagan playing Dead Space for her new show, Cracked. And I just want to give that a quick shout out. You guys should check that out. She streams the new show now to do the recordings on Twitch and then edits them, and they premiere on YouTube. And there's also a new podcast that some of our peeps over there are making about the House of Dragons show, which is cool. And there's going to be more stuff like that coming to the channel. So if you guys aren't on couchsoup.com, you should definitely check it out. Big plug.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it for us here at the Replayer Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Dan Morris. With me tonight was Patrick Sutherland and Louis Reza. Thank you guys for having this chat with me. Let's go play some games.
Game over, man.
Let's
Game
go
over.
watch some trailers.
I pour over trailers all day.
Oh, man.
But yeah, thank you all. Have a good night. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.